Hello everyone, among all of us there have always been a lot of fans to argue, and quite often the subject of the dispute is absurd. History knows of cases when two respectable gentlemen had an argument about how many chickens they would see along the route, or maybe someone decides to insert breast implants after losing the argument. This is not all, there are much more interesting personalities in this environment of excitement. Are you ready to get to know them better? Then let's go! I'll bet 100 to 1, or I'll bet. These are the words that usually start the hottest and exciting disputes. If people don't agree in their opinions or views and want to prove their case, it's not necessary to spend hours shooting at each other or throwing themselves into hand-to-hand combat. You can just argue. In the civilized world, this is called betting. In addition, if you win, you can improve your material well-being. True, there is always a risk of losing, but it makes the argument even more attractive. So history remembers some of the most interesting bets. Among the professional debaters, a famous card player, Brian Zembic, named twice. In 1994, he bet $100,000 that he would install silicone female breast implants of huge size and pass with them exactly a year. After winning the bet, Brian decided not to get rid of the artificial breast, saying that he was used to it and quite happy. But no one expected Brian to spend 20 years with them. We don't know if Brian liked it, but he also received $10,000 for every year he spent with silicone implants in his chest. So it turns out that for 20 years of his boob life, Brian has received a total $300,000. This is the best $100,000 that I have ever lost, said a friend of Brian Zembic's. Other bests include living for a month in a public toilet on top of the toilet, living for a week in a TV box, and crossing 100 streets of New York backwards for one day. Sam Ballard from Australia led a carefree life, played sports, played rugby, and didn't even know that one day he would become disabled. And the reason for all the problems of the guy was the usual dispute with friends. One night the boys had bet about whether Sam could eat a slug. We sat and drank red wine and imagined ourselves as adults, said one of Sam's friends later. Suddenly we noticed a slug crawling past. Then the conversation quickly changed direction. Friends began to joke that none of them could eat this wild creature. Then Sam said decisively, "I can do it," and did it. Soon after, the teenager began to feel unwell. The boy was particularly concerned about the severe pain in his legs. Sam's mother, Katie Ballard, suspected he had multiple sclerosis from which his father suffered. The woman took her son to the hospital, but the diagnosis was not confirmed. However, what the doctors told them was much worse. It turned out that the slug was infected with the parasite Angiostrongylus catenaensis. Once in the body of a young man, it caused brain damage. Soon after Sam was diagnosed, he fell into a coma. In this state, the young man spent 420 days and woke up already paralyzed. Sam could not eat or drink on his own and required round-the-clock care. However, as stated by friends of the guy, he understood everything going on around. Sam spent the following years in hospitals trying to fight the disease. In spite of all his efforts, the only thing the boy managed to do was restore a slight movement in his legs. On the morning of November 2nd, 2018, Sam Ballard died in Hornsby Hospital, surrounded by 20 of his closest friends. Another bet made while intoxicated. 36-year-old William Bonner of Augusta agreed to set his head on fire. First, Bonner told the authorities that he got into a drunken fight in a bar where he turned his face, but CCTV footage showed something else. A very drunk Bonner asked one of his drinking buddies to pour Bacardi rum over his head and set it on fire, decided to bet that his head would defiantly catch fire, and what an amazing thing, on the second attempt, his head actually caught fire, which earned him the nickname Ghost Rider. Bartender Kate Bassey summed it up. Asking your friend to pour a rum on your head and set it on fire is certainly the best way to please women. 18-year-old Stein Yetterdal, under pressure from friends, made one of the most stupid tattoos of all possible. The guy father is in shock and told him that he cannot return home from the university. Stein went with friends to McDonald's for a bite to eat, and too much touted himself, saying that he was supposedly wildly popular with girls. But Stein could not not prove his words, and friends gave him an ultimatum to make a choice between two options for a tattoo, either a bill from McDonald's on his arm or a Barbie on his buttock. The young man decided to choose the option with a McDonald's check. I am no like a walking billboard, but I think it's just fun. Maybe it won't be so much fun when I turn 50 or 60, but it's my choice, admitted the young Norwegian. The tattooist himself calls the tattoo his most unusual work and offers the young man to fill on the second hand another check for free. Stein agreed and made an appointment for the following Monday. Naturally, Stein's parents are not happy with his son's arts, especially displeased with his father, who either jokingly or seriously forbade him to return home with such a hand. Despite the discontent of his parents, Stein is happy with the tattoo and is not going to remove it. A 42-year-old man named Sabnash Yadav went to the supermarket accompanied by his friend. The man bet 2,000 rupees, about $28, whether Yadav could eat 50 raw eggs. Sabnash swallowed 41 eggs and lost consciousness on the 42nd. He was rushed to the hospital but died a few seconds later. According to doctors, the death occurred as a result of complications associated with overeating. In March 2019, American scientists conducted a study finding that without risk to health you can eat no more than 2 or 3 eggs a week. Use more eggs increases the risk of heart diseases by 6% and the risk of premature death by 8%. Such interesting disputes are something started by people. It's not clear for what purpose, so be careful and before you do something stupid and look cool, think about whether it's worth it. We hope you liked this video and you were able to learn something new for yourself. If so, subscribe to the channel, put a like and a bell to not miss our next releases. All the while, friends.